Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and this is the Sonic Movie 3 Sonic 5-inch figure. Now, normally when I do these kind of videos, I try to do them all at once to make it fun. But finding these things is not very fun. As of this recording, it's the day before the movie trailer drops. So I'm pretty sure afterwards, everybody's gonna get them, and it's gonna be a little bit easier to find. And even then, I didn't even find this one in the wild. The one character I did find in the wild, though, was Robotnik. I attempted 3 times to go to 3 different Walmarts. The first one had nothing originally. Then I went back a couple days later, and then they had the 2.5-inch and the super giant one that talks. I didn't touch that one yet. I may do a video on it. We'll see what happens. But then I flagged somebody down, and it said they had a full case, but we didn't know where it was. There were pallets of fresh shipments. We couldn't find a single thing for Sonic Movie 3. My good friend Bryce bought me this Sonic. So, first up, thank you. You're really awesome. But I'm still furious because I want this Shadow. I want Shadow so bad. He looks so cool. I mean, we'll do Robotnik towards the end of the video, but right now we're just gonna focus on Sonic. So looking at the box, we got an arrow-looking motif for the bubble itself. I guess it's trying to go for something similar to Radical Highway, I believe. But then we got some different renders of the Sonic characters. I believe the first Sonic is, that's from movie 1. These are from movie 2. And then this is, I guess, for the end of Sonic movie 2, I guess. I don't know. They really haven't shown off much for official merch for Sonic movie 3 outside of the new toy line. There's an interesting new font for Sonic. The movie 3 logo up there. And then we got the figure itself. Other characters in the line, and then we got the bio in multiple languages, and then we got the Sonic Movie 3 logo again, and then Sonic. Sonic is on a roll. He saved the world twice, but who's counting? It has 2 besties for his team, but will they be enough to handle a devastating new threat? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But it's interesting how this figure looks, because I also want to compare it to the Sonic Movie 2 figures. Now there's a later release. So like, we got the arrow motif that you can even see in the background of the box as well. While this is going for like the Hedgehog head, you see the lightning bolt going through. I like how it's saying articulated. This whole thing's gimmick is that it's like super articulated. And I'm like really excited to open him up and play with him. And as you can tell, like, Movie 2 came with accessories, but this one doesn't. This figure, I believe, was still around the $10 area, I believe. This is more $15. It's very interesting because the Mario movie figures, which we'll compare with that by the way, were 20 bucks a piece. And sure, they came in different packaging, but they went for more detail, more articulation. But stuck with the same eye gimmick that Sonic has right now, where it's supposed to like change wherever like, he's pointing. But this one is much more articulated and it's cheaper. It's interesting. It's very interesting. But then the back of the boxes, we got 13 points of articulation with the original figures from like the 4-inch movie 2 figures. And then we got 22 points with the 5-inch movie 3 figures. I feel if they keep going with movie stuff, if they make another Sonic movie, which they probably will, I want them to stick in the 5-inch line because then it adds more detail, more articulation, more structural integrity, I guess. It won't break as easy. But anyway, let's open this one up. So you see how I have the movie 2 figure still in the box. I have, I think, 3 of them because I bought a whole case of them. So I kind of want to get another one of these Sonics right here to just hang on the wall just because it looks cool. And that ripped off real easy. And then you pull this off and that's interesting. I think this is supposed to be the barcode because that's the barcode right there if you want to scan that and like use that for when you're shopping at Walmart and see if anybody has anything in the back. But that's interesting how they have that right there too. Okay. And nothing is tying him down. No twist ties, no nothing. So you could just pull him out and have a good time. And there he is. There's Sonic. Here's a closer look at him on the turntable so you can actually really admire him and stuff. He looks absolutely great. I love the amount of movement he has too. Like, he can move his head quite a bit. You got the butterfly joints, you can move his shoulders around so you can like actually point it forward and stuff. He's so flexible. I love the knees so much. It gives him the perfect amount of range without being too ugly. It's figures like this that get me so excited to get closer to something kind of similar to an SH Figuarts. I am dying for an SH Figuarts Sonic. But the question is, can they make a figure like this in a smaller scale? Because I'm not sure if they can. Of course, this is a $15 figure, so there's going to be some imperfections that you're not going to be able to see on like I don't know, SH Figure Arts or something, like, seeing how open the hinge is right here and other stuff like that. But I'm not going to complain because this thing's only $15. If there was a Bandai and SH Figure Arts logo on this thing would already jump to at least $35. So for a $15 figure, this thing is so impressive. Now, the other gimmick outside of him being as articulated as he is that he has that little, like, movable eye, I guess. Or the realistic eyes. I don't really know how exactly to describe it. But the Mario movie figures do that. And it gets to the point where it's kind of uncanny. While with the Sonic figure, it's more subtle than anything. So if he's supposed to, like, look at the camera when he's, like, tilted to the side a little bit, then it works really well. But then if you're trying to go for, like, just him looking forward, it still looks like he's looking forward. I feel like if I get, like, an SH Figure Arts Sonic, I wouldn't want anything like this. But I feel like when it comes to subtle movement, so, like, let's say his head's tilted down a little bit, and he's trying to look up, it works so well. Or if you tilt his head a little bit and he's looking more at the camera, it looks like he's looking at the camera. That I like. Again, I can understand why people don't like this gimmick, but personally, I don't mind it at all. I think it looks great. And when I see these hands, like, clamping the way they do, it kind of reminds me of, like, something like, I don't know, Sonic Adventure or something. Like, when it's a fist, it looks great, but when you, like, have it like that, it looks kind of weird. But again, for a $15 figure, I'm not going to complain. But the biggest reason why I wanted this figure is that I feel like this can do almost everything I want him to do with little to no compromises. With how these shoulders are built, I'm a little concerned about the integrity of it. Like, I'm afraid of being too rough on it and snapping it. But I feel like if you're going to have a Sonic action figure, this, especially if you're trying to actually be dynamic and really play with it and have a good time with it, this is the Sonic figure. Even though it's not going to match the games, this is the perfect Sonic figure. I love this. I really love the ankle rocking, like that works really well. I love how much range you have in the knees, and they don't really do any locking mechanisms either. And again, honestly, I think I really like the eyes because of, like, if you have his head tilted down a little bit and he looks like he's looking up a little bit. I love this. I almost want to grab two more. One to have in the box on the wall, and then another one to just have at my desk just to play with. But with me buying all the Sonic Generations Collector's Edition and all that stuff, I'm spending $600 on that game alone. I think I can handle just having two. Now, having a little belly right here, like being able to turn and stuff like that, it kind of breaks the mold a little bit. You can't really move it forward and back all that much. It feels like you get a little bit, but it just goes right back anyway, so like what's the real point? But they're also coming out with figures. I think it's a 4-pack from Target. It's going to have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Shadow, but the Sonic and Shadow are not going to have the hip movement. Instead, they're going to have a gimmick where you press something on their belly, and it's going to light up their head, and that's why this head sculpt has like the clear blue pieces in here. By the way, can we get a replica of the one quill that Robotnik has in the movie? Imagine having that in your collection. It's gonna feel like you're taking the power of Sonic at home. And I think any Sonic collector would love that. I don't care if Jakks Pacific is not making it. I would love anybody to make that little quill. But this Sonic figure is literally everything I want in a Sonic figure. If SH Figure Arts makes anything different, I want swappable hands, and I want swappable eyes, and swappable mouths. Besides that, they nailed this thing. Like, when it comes to articulation and movement, this is everything I want in a Sonic figure. This is amazing. I feel like if I had this figure when I was younger, or honestly, even when I was in high school, I was still playing with action figures. But anyway, if I had this figure in high school, I would be loving this thing. Like, this would be like a figure that I would play with every day. I feel like there's so much movement you can do with this. It makes me wish, like, this had the SH Figure Arts style of swapping out different eyes and mouths and stuff like that. This figure does so much right. I love this. I love this so much. Like, I didn't want this figure just so I could have it as part of the collection. I wanted this figure because this is such a cool action figure. I really wanted to play with this thing. And now that I have it in my hands, it's living up to my expectations. This thing is so cool. And it has me even more excited to get my hands on Shadow. This is such a cool figure. I love this. And because it's movie Sonic and he doesn't have that heavy of a head, like him being top heavy is not an issue. Like he can secure himself, no problem. I love him. He's so cool. But now let's compare him to some of the other figures we have. The first figure I want to compare him to is the Sonic Prime 5-inch figure. Because even though this is still 5-inch, it goes for a completely different style when it comes to both art as well as how the toy itself is built. I'm not a huge fan of the Sonic Prime figures because since everything is on like the ball hinges and they like move and stuff like that, which keep in mind this figure does that too, but it's not like all reliant on just the knee or the elbow alone. So it makes moving him a little bit easier and playing with him a lot easier. While with this is more of a cumbersome to play with him. It's not fun to play with the Prime figures at all. They look cool, I guess, but as toys, they don't nail it at all. Now here he is to the movie 2 4-inch figure, and as you can tell, like they still look somewhat similar when it comes to like the texture and even like the texture on the shoes. I still love how they still handled that. But it's crazy how that 1 extra inch just adds so much of a difference. This is still a great figure, don't get me wrong, but this is great. And I always found it weird how they did his little belly where it like always pointed at the bottom. I'm happy they got rid of that. Like this feels more movie accurate than anything. Now here he is next to a standard 4-inch Jax figure. I love the look of the 4-inch figures just because like how they capture the game itself. But this is such a better action figure. Now, if they could turn this into this peak favorite Sonic figure in the whole collection, it'll almost rival the Nendoroid. Speaking of, because I feel like I have to, here he is next to the Nendoroid. This Nendoroid's a little bit taller because he has the soap shoes, but still, 2 great Sonic figures right here. I love both of these so much. But the biggest thing I want to compare him to is the Mario figure, because I feel like when it comes to having these two on a wall or a shelf or a desk or whatever, like these two look so good together because of the movies they're in, you know? Like, since they're both video game movies and they're both made by Jakks Pacific, I think these look so good together. And again, the amount of detail they put into all the figures, like, these look phenomenal together, and I'm happy that this is going to be more of a better pair versus this with your 4-inch movie 2 figures. So go Jakks for making, like, this, like, consistent. I like that a lot. But with the Mario, like, you can see how the eyes really follow you, and it creeps some people out. While with the Sonic, it's definitely a lot more subtle, and it's meant for, like, photography or stuff like that, rather than scaring a child or an adult, even. But I do want to compare it to a few other figures that are going to be completely unrelated. But it means something to me. Give me a sec. First up, this is my childhood Sonic figure. Like, this is the one that I played with when I was younger. I feel like if I had this, I'd be super duper duper happy because I could do any pose I can without breaking the thing, hopefully. But this thing has been through a lot. This thing is definitely familiar with a lot of super glue. And I also want to compare it to the Jazzwares, like 3.75 inch, because in high school, this was my Sonic figure. This is the one that I love the most. And wow. How action figures have evolved so much over the years. But just a few more. Give me one sec. For the action figure snobs, here he is next to an SH Figuarts Naruto, and here he is next to an SH Figuarts Goku. A small part of me thinks, man, I would love to have a Sonic around that scale. That would look really good. Unfortunately, it wouldn't look good next to the SH Figuarts Mario, because the SH Figuarts Mario goes closer to the 4-inch scale than anything. So unless they revamp the Mario line and make them 5 inches, like, I want SH Figuarts to do something similar to this 5-inch Sonic, because this is perfect. This is the perfect Sonic action figure for me. So now that I have this figure in hand, I can fully say, don't walk, run to Walmart or Target or wherever to try and find these things. And it makes me wish that Toys R Us was still a thing again, because imagine having like a whole quarter of an aisle just dedicated to movie Sonic. Because that was how it was back in the day. It was awesome. Alright, so now we're done with Sonic. Let's put him over here for now. Now let's quickly unbox Robotnik. I vote Robotnik because Gerald's gonna be there too. Again, same thing as the other figure, but this time on the back he says other stuff. Ivo Robotnik proves that you can't keep an evil genius down for long and sets his sights on world domination. No big deal. Now the 4-inch figure came with the Austrian goat milk, I believe. And then the figure fell off my shelf, and now I can't find that goat milk anywhere, so now I'm sad. But this one comes with absolutely no accessories. But this one's definitely more articulated and has more facial details compared to the 4-inch figure, which we'll compare those. So let's open them up, and let's compare. Well, there's definitely a little bit of a quality control issue with my figure. Can I fix that? I feel like there's gotta be a way to pop this elbow off, because this is supposed to line up with the red and the black. Kind of like how this left arm is, but the right arm, ooh. Now, I don't think there's really a way to tell from the package because his arms are already bent. Then he's doing the Spider-Man pose. Cool. But I love the amount of movement he has just so he can look diabolical as he's laughing. Like, that's really cool. And then this is all flexible, so it doesn't really hinder the movement of Robotnik that much. It's not that the back is, like, this is not hindering it, it's his butt. Like, you can't really move the legs back all that much. Part of me is low-key disappointed that it's not going for, like, a fatter Eggman or, like, any new suit or anything, but I don't know. I like Jim Carrey as Robotnik. I loved him in movie 2, liked him in movie 1, and I hope he's even better in movie 3. So here he is next to the 4-inch figure. As you can tell, the faces definitely look a lot better compared on the 5-inch figure versus this, and plus there's a lot more detail on here as well. Like, again, it's crazy what that 1 extra inch does to a figure. So absolutely, a 5-inch figure is definitely worth grabbing. This one was still a fine figure, but this definitely just blows it out of the water. But people also love comparing it to the 4-inch figures, because if they feel like this matches the scale a little bit better. Or my favorite one to do, comparing him to Knuckles, since he came up to Sonic at Dude's house. Be like, meet Knuckles. I think grabbing the 5-inch Robotnik is definitely worth grabbing if you already have the 4-inch figures, like from movie 2, because I feel like they look fantastic together. However, if you compare them to each other like this, the scale is definitely not there. So if you're only going for movie 3 figures, it might be worth passing on Robotnik. But if you have the movie 2 figures that are smaller, definitely grab this one. And it's a shame, because it's pretty much saying this one's like not worth it. It's definitely the Andy's from Toy Story 2, I don't want to play with you anymore. But yes, I'm very impressed with this. Like, the amount of texture detail they put in this figure is so incredible. Again, for $15 figures, phenomenal. Can SH Figure Arts possibly do better? Or Reveltech or somebody else? Absolutely. But I love how bad we want a premium Sonic figure. And Jakks Pacific is definitely laying the groundwork in multiple ways. Honestly, unless SH Figure Arts does something like this, does it in a 4-inch scale, and to make it closer to the SH Figure Arts Mario, I don't know how much better a Sonic action figure is going to get. Because for me, this is peak. This is the perfect Sonic figure. That's all I gotta say. This thing's perfect. I love this thing so much, and I cannot wait to get my hands on Shadow. So anyway, that's all I gotta say for this figure. So if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. In the description, I'm gonna have a listing for the 4-pack from Target. It's like $55, I believe. But it comes out in like October-ish, so you gotta wait a good bit for it. But I will be reviewing that when I get my hands on that. But if you have a hard time getting your hands on this figure, getting that 4-pack so you get Sonic, Tails, Shadow, and Knuckles, because Knuckles hasn't been released in this form yet, it's worth it. It's awesome. It's so awesome. I never really considered myself a Sonic YouTuber, but Sonic stuff seems to be doing really well for me, and I really love Sonic. So right now we're going to be in a bit of a Sonic rush. Pun not intended. But yeah, if you like Sonic stuff, subscribe, because I got a lot more Sonic content coming up here very soon. So anyway, thank you for watching. I love you guys to death, and I'll see you on the next one. So peace.